the subconscious, how to control your thoughts, how to diminish negative thoughts. Hi guys, it's been a while. Missed you. I know that I have not been active on YouTube. As you can see, a lot has changed from my last video. Today I'm going to be just sitting here talking in this park. I have a lot of other content that I really want to push out, but I have recently felt really discouraged. I've been dealing with a lot of stuff mentally, and there has been a lot of setbacks in my life and difficulties that I've been facing. I've gotten so lost in my head and in my thoughts that it started to affect my life and affect my days. Just my mental in general just was destructing me, not just mentally but physically. I just want to come on here and talk about a lot of the things that have helped me and a lot of the tools that I use to get myself out of a low place. It's so easy to get caught up in your emotions and so easy to get caught up in your own mind and your thoughts that it feels like you can't escape. I'm going to be sharing a lot of information. It's probably going to be a longer video. Just kind of run through everything in detail so that I can explain this in the best way so that it can impact you in the best way. So if you don't want to sit here and listen to me talk, that's totally fine. I brought my notebook with me and I've been spending a lot of time writing. And as some of you know, I took a little break from social media. And although it wasn't a very long break, I got to recollect myself and recollect my thoughts and my emotions and just kind of gather myself as a whole. I'm just gonna hop right in because I don't want to make this intro too long. All I want is to be able to change your perspective in one way or another. So let's dive on in. Your mentality is a reflection onto your life. What I'm getting at is your perception. Your perception is everything. It is something that you don't necessarily create, but has been created. I'm starting with your perception and going all the way back from whenever you were a child because I want to start at the root of everything before I move on to the next topic. When you grow up, you are a product of everything around you. That means your family, your friends, your environment, your school, your work, whatever the case. Everything that's around you, you are like a sponge. Whenever you're born, your subconscious already starts developing between 0 to 2, and then from 2 to 7, your subconscious is rapidly taking in information. You know, you learn from what you're taught and the interactions that you have. Past 12, your subconscious is still developing and continuing to develop. However, your conscious mind takes a more dominant role. Things inside your subconscious become beliefs, and it creates your identity. It creates your perception of life, the feelings that you have towards things, towards relationships, towards, again, life in general. All of that creates your perception, creates your identity, and who you are, who you know you are. So circling back to the negative mindset. For example, if you're in a household to where your parents or people around you are teaching you that mistakes are failures, and you see them as failures, you begin to develop a fear of failure. That's inevitable because of your perception. And that can inhibit you in the future to where whenever you look at situations, because of that perception that you have, it'll always trace back to that. Your subconscious is like the back of everything. So when you're in an uncomfortable situation, when you're in a period of growth, whenever you're growing up and you start to break away from your family and you start doing your own thing and building your own career, building your own life, well, it can feel really scary. Or even whenever you're trying to accomplish a goal, whenever your mind is in a more vulnerable state because it's stepping into a new state. It's stepping outside of the version of everything that you've ever known, and so more of a fight or flight response to a threat. And even though that's not necessarily a threat, it's just because your subconscious's job is to keep you in a cycle. And so once you've already built that cycle, it can be hard to break. It can be hard to recognize certain things. You may not know why you think certain things, and you may not know why you react emotionally to these things or react certain ways. It's just very important to take that into account Whenever you're in that vulnerable state of mind, you can start overthinking about the future and what's going to happen. Just being in that state of mind in general, in certain growth periods that you might not recognize as growth, it can be really uncomfortable, and you might not feel like you have a purpose. You might not feel like you have an identity. You might not feel like you don't even know what you're doing in life. You don't even know what you're doing in general. So whenever you're taking the steps forward, it's all of this uncertainty. Those thoughts that pop up in your head, it actually creates and paints an image for you of putting yourself in that exact scenario. Doubt itself is an oxymoron. It's self-contradicting. So when doubtful thoughts pop up, whenever you're in that vulnerable state of mind, it totally contradicts everything. Because one, you don't know that you are capable. You don't know that you are within reach of these things. And so there's so much uncertainty, there's so much doubt as to what could happen. Again, it paints that image in your mind. And so you have these two contradictory ideas. It's going to reflect outwards onto your life. Doubt itself makes you stagnant. Those thoughts will make you stagnant. Things will start to stop working. The negativity can just consume you and make you retaliate, make you turn the other way, make you shy away from opportunities and shy away from growth and stepping outside of your comfort zone, because you want to feel the comfort. You want to feel safe. You want to feel like you're in control of everything. And whenever you're in a state of growth period, you don't feel like you're in control of your life. You don't feel like you're in control of anything. So you want to go back to everything that you've ever known. That just enables you to grow. With your subconscious, as I was talking about earlier, it registers every single little thing, and you may not even remember. Is 95% of your mental activity versus the conscious being 5 to 10%. Your subconscious is in control of the decisions that you make. And not only that, your subconscious doesn't know how to differentiate whether what's real or what's not real. Whenever you have those thoughts, or whenever you're, around people who are negative and being fed those thoughts, those negative things, it can really make a huge impact on you. Or whenever you're in the middle of change, this negative mindset just pops up out of nowhere. You start getting these thoughts and they just start flooding your mind, and it can just put everything at a halt. Back to your perspective and perception. You're choosing the life that you are living, and unconsciously, you may not even realize, but you are choosing your life. I know some people can be in really bad circumstances, and this doesn't necessarily fully apply. There is cases to where people really are in tough situations where they can't get out. Just know and remember that there's hope. If you can't change one thing in your physical life, you can change yourself mentally. Prepare yourself to when that time comes to where you can break away from those things. When you're doubting yourself and when you have doubtful thoughts, you are doubting that anything is actually happening in front of you. When you have doubts, when you're overthinking, what is it about? The future possibilities. Your mindset is not in the present, it is in the future. You won't be able to focus on what's at hand and all of these little steps that you can make because your mind is somewhere else. You will notice that whenever you start to feed into that doubt, whenever you start to feed into those negative feelings, it really impacts your life. And if you observe and pay enough attention, you will start to see those things. I want to say that everyone has potential. Everybody has potential. Everybody is capable. You are capable, and you need to know that you are capable. Who says that you're not? Really question all your doubts, really question those negative thoughts. Number one, you can't predict the future. You don't know what's going to happen in the future. What you can do is take the steps further so that you can reach whatever you're trying to reach. That's all that matters. The next thing, just keep an eye out and observe the people around you. Are those people negative? Are they negative to themselves? Because that can affect you, especially if they're verbal about being negative to themselves. That just goes straight into your subconscious. And especially if you're hearing it a lot, it's going to impact you. Whatever you're around, you are who you are around, subconsciously and unconsciously. And even though despite you can have some control over that aspect, it still is inevitable. Because what you hear, what you're being fed, the information and things you're being told, things you're being taught, can heavily affect you and heavily affect your life. To the best of your ability, try to break away from those things, try to break away from those people. And even if you love those people and you still want to have them in your lives, that's totally fine. Maybe spend less time with them, or maybe even have a conversation with them. And because not many people realize how much what they're saying and what they're doing can affect the other person. When you have a thought, your subconscious mind often plays a significant role in creating this scenario. When you think of something, your subconscious can draw from stored memories, stored experiences, and knowledge to visualize a circumstance or a scenario, helping you see through a thought, creating detailed mental images and scenarios based off of your thoughts. One thing I want to mention, and I'm just gonna kind of pull apart from this whole thing, people who manifest and people who write down affirmations or say affirmations to themselves, you want to know why that works? It's not, and I'm not trying to discredit anyone's beliefs. And you can think that I'm wrong by saying this. You don't have to agree, and that's totally okay. I'm not telling anyone that they're wrong, and I'm not trying to force my own beliefs down your guys' throats. But manifestation and affirmations, you're really just forcing your brain to think positively. When you're writing down positive things, you're feeding yourself positive things, especially if you're writing it down over and over and over with repetition. What does repetition do? It makes it stick in your brain. And so when you're thinking more positively and you're telling yourself these positive things, you're gonna have a more positive outlook on life, because your mental, again, reflects onto your life. With manifestation, when you sit there and you visualize these things, it paints that image for you, so those thoughts can't paint an image for you to reflect onto your life. Do you get what I'm saying? If you're about to go on stage and you're visualizing your performance, whatever the case, you force that image to be painted and your body will follow. Your mind is in control, your body, your physical will follow. And I'm gonna give a prime example because I was in gymnastics for 6 years. And I learned a lot about discipline, and I learned a lot of other life lessons that still impact me to this day. And I've already shared a couple of stories on social media, but I'm going to bring it up again because I think it's such a good reference. Whenever the person ahead of us was taking their turn and competing, my coach would pull me over and sit me down and have me visualize my routine, have me go through every motion, every step of the way, and visualize it perfectly, without failure, without mistake, going through each step, thinking about first thing to the next. By the time that the person ahead of us was done competing and it's our turn, you are already about to go by the time that you're done visualizing this. That doesn't give your brain, your mind enough time to create that negative scenario in your head, because you could be thinking, oh my gosh, what if I hurt myself? What if I miss this? What if I do this? Thinking about a very specific part in the skill. Again, what are you doing? Thinking into the future. You're not thinking about right now. You're thinking into the future. Your mind is not there. You are doubting that anything in front of you is happening, and you are already ahead of time. So what happens when your mind is there? You are not in full control of everything up to that point. Another example is whenever I was competing on beam. Our whole entire team grouped together and we were doing a warm-up. My coach looked at me and she said, if you want to compete this skill, there's a back handspring snap down, but you're going to have to do it today in this warm-up. And this warm-up consisted of, 2 to 3 minutes. Each person was hopping up on either side of the beam. You had to get up and do, one skill and then hop back off. By the time that I had to do my back handspring, I got up there and I was immediately thinking of what could go wrong. I was immediately thinking of all of the countless possibilities of what could go wrong, and I was thinking ahead of time. I was thinking about missing my hands and hitting my head. I was thinking about splitting the beam. I was thinking about falling. I was thinking about getting hurt. I was so nervous. I had never done it before, and so my mind retaliated to, these thoughts just spewed out of me. And so I was sitting there, I was shaking, and I was having a very real reaction to my thoughts. Because again, what is internalized reflects outwards. And so that gave me anxiety. I was standing there for way too long. My coach looks at me, she's like, go. And that made it worse. Let's be real, that made it worse. By the time that I went, because I was like, okay, you know what, I'm just gonna go. I missed my hands, I hit my head, I split the beam, and I fell on the floor. Everything that I had imagined happened. Everything that could have gone wrong happened. And I laid there on the floor, humiliated, in defeat. I was like, I wanted to just go cry and go to the bathroom, but we weren't allowed to cry. My coach comes over, looks me dead in the eye, and goes, "Get up and do it again." Me? Are you serious right now? You can't show any disrespect to your coaches. You have to get up and do what they say. Get my little happy up. I wasn't injured to where it could enable me from doing this skill, so I get back on the beam. She looks at me, she goes, "Ellie, remember what I told you. You have to pay attention and go through the first steps. You can't look ahead of time and skip all of these steps, because what is that going to do? It's going to set you up for failure. If you ignore everything at hand and think about what's going to happen, you ignore everything in front of you, and it makes you lose control of everything." So many important, aspects to a skill. And whether that's, how your hands are placed, how far back you're swinging, or how much force you're pushing off of your feet, if you're whipping your head backwards. There's so many things that you need to take into account to be able to successfully do a skill. Don't think about what could happen. Think about what you should be doing in the present time, going through each little step first. By that time, you're already there. You're already on your hands. You've already made it. I take a second, I visualize it, I go through each and every motion, and guess what? I land it perfectly. If I were to have walked away, and if I didn't get back up and do it again, that would have created a mental block. That would be me retaliating and turning away at the face of failure because I was humiliated. I was discouraged, I was disappointed, I didn't want to get up there and do it again. But because I did, I ended it on a good note, so that you could look at failure in a different way, and a chance and an opportunity to get back up, and an opportunity to look it in the face and keep going. Failures are meant to happen in life, because do you really want it that bad? It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be handed to you. You're going to be tested over and over and over and over again. The road to success and the road to failure are very, very similar, if not identical. The only difference is that with the road to success, you continue to get back up. You continue to keep going. You continue to look at these things and take it as an opportunity for growth. Take it as an opportunity for a lesson, for something to learn. And the opposite spectrum of that is turning away and letting those doubtful thoughts like, what if this doesn't work out? What if I end up failing? What if this happens? I'm not cut out or good enough to do this. Everyone will think I'm a failure. I don't have the skills or experience needed for this. Why would anyone listen to me or take me serious? I'm scared of being judged by others. I'm afraid of looking foolish if I try. What if I make the wrong choice? Should I wait longer? There's too many possible outcomes. How do I know which one is right? I probably won't succeed, so why bother trying? Even if I work hard, it's never hard enough. I tried and I failed. Why would it be different this time? Things feel uncertain. I should wait until I'm more sure. Others are so much better at this than I am. Everyone seems to have it figured out, and I'm just pretending. All of these thoughts stem from doubt, failure, insecurity, fear of rejection, overthinking, indecision, fear of uncertainty, comparison, and imposter syndrome. All of these things are negative. All of these things are, no, you're not thinking rationally. You're not thinking in reality. No, these are destructive things. These are things meant to make you turn away and face away and run away. Number one, it doesn't matter what anyone's opinion is on your life. Why should you let them tell you what you should be doing with your life? The choices you should be making with your life. Whenever someone, and this is something that I had learned in high school, was to not share your goals, especially your bigger goals, with other people. And that is because majority of the time, what people have to say to you are their own projection of their own doubtful thoughts and insecurities. Like, for example, when I was in high school and I was talking to one of my friends as what I wanted to do, all these aspirations that I had, and he told me that, oh, well, so many people try and do this, so many people try and get into this, and it's so oversaturated, it's not even worth trying. You shouldn't give in or let someone's words impact you in a way negatively that's trying to distract you or turn away from these opportunities or big goals that you have. You are within reach. You have to know that. Dreams are not dreams. Dreams are goals. You have to view dreams as goals, because dreams are viewed as, more likely as impossible, more likely as unreachable. Because you are literally putting the self-imposed limitation on yourself by saying that and thinking that. And what does that do? Registers into your subconscious and makes it a belief, and reflects outward onto your life. If you believe that failure is inevitable and that you're just gonna fail, what's gonna happen? It becomes a belief, and it will happen. It will happen. And what is that gonna do whenever it comes? Whenever you have that sort of mindset, you're gonna turn away. You're gonna retaliate. You're gonna give up. And that's not what we're gonna fucking do here. The lack of free will is in the circumstance. Free will exists in the way that you can have it. You have to know that you can have these things. You have to know that you're capable. And if you're having these thoughts, then you need to reinforce positive thoughts. And I'm going to tell you exactly how to diminish doubt. And even though you can't completely diminish doubt, you can diminish it from your everyday life. And not to say that, thoughts will pop up. These things will pop up in your mind, but you have to sit there and you have to question the validity of these thoughts. You have to observe them so that you know how to tackle it. You know how to tackle a situation. You know how to get yourself out of it. You want to take some time to yourself on a day-to-day basis, just observing your thoughts, whether you think the thoughts are coming from you or just thoughts that just pop up in general. Observe them, write them down. That is just going to help you break down and analyze those thoughts. Break down and analyze and question them. Why is this, what is the importance of this thought? What is this thought going to bring in my life? And what is this going to paint in my mental reality that's going to reflect outward onto my life? Those are destructive things, and you need to recognize that. If you are so busy distracting yourself with everybody else and everyone else's life, and how are you going to get to know yourself? You have to treat yourself like your own friend. Just like as if you were to get to know somebody else, you would ask them questions, right? You get to know them by asking them questions, by analyzing certain things or even the way that they act. So you want to do the same with yourself so that you can know yourself and you can have control over these things. Because if you don't, you're just going to be lost and you're going to be like, yeah, this is just who I am. This is just how I am. First of all, when you're accepting that, it makes it even more real. You are not subjectified to the identity that you grew up with. No, you're not. And that's why stepping outside of, your hometown and everything that you're around, your family, can really help you see a different perspective and just kind of the bigger picture of everything, that you are not, these things do not define you. These things, these bad habits, these negative mindsets, these negative thoughts, they don't define you. That doesn't make you you. And you need to recognize that. You don't have to accept these things. You can make a change. You can make a change with anything. Again, pulling back to visualization. Visualization is just so important. Again, you're forcing that image into your mind. You're forcing that scenario so that you can put yourself in that scenario and you don't give into the negative thinking. You don't give in to those negative thoughts to have control over you. That's when you choose to have control over these things, knowing that you do have control over these things, because anything negative, anything destructive, you do have control over, on at least how you perceive it, how your perception of those things are. And this is the next step, is to catch and replace thoughts. So once you have observed yourself enough, once you have kind of had more of an idea of the thoughts that you're having, the mindset that you're in, you can, whenever you're in certain situations and you catch a thought, catch it, reflect back on it, and then feed yourself with a positive thought. You want to reinforce. Because what is that going to do? It's going to help you break away from that habit so that you can create a new habit. Repetition is going to make it stick. Eventually, you will get to the point to where it'll just, and there still will be times to where you can get really lost into your mind, but you need to know how to pull yourself out, because you can pull yourself out. My advice is to keep a journal. I mean, what's personally helped me is to find a journal that I like aesthetically. because then it makes me want to write in it more. Writing can just be so beneficial to your everyday life. Reflect on your past successes. Take action on small things. Challenge yourself. Do things that will put you out of your comfort zone. To put yourself in uncomfortable situations is to ask for growth. To challenge yourself is to ask for growth. The one thing that I want to state is that you have the choice. The choice is in your hands. It's always been in your hands. And do you really want to pursue this? Do you really want to take it this far? Do you really want to push through? You got to ask yourself these questions. You are capable. You can do whatever you set your mind to. Get the resources, research, start taking the little steps, because that is going to get you there. And not only that, focus heavily on your mentality, because that is 80% of your work. You could say it's 50-50. I think it's 80 personally. I think that your mental has so much of a greater impact on your life and your goals and where you want to be rather than your physical. Doing things physically, that is not nearly as hard as the mental game. That is pretty much all that I have to say. Believe in yourself. Not only believe in yourself, but know that you have that free will. You may not be in control of your circumstances, but you are in control of how you tackle them. You are in control of the present. You are in the present time. So you have control to take those steps. And not only take those steps physically, take those steps mentally. Your mental is going to have a reflection onto your life. So are you going to let this negative mindset, all these things, overcome you? Or are you going to learn to overcome them? Now, I just want to say, for the ones who have listened to this whole entire video, thank you so much. Truly, it really means the world to me, and I really hope that I was able to put you into a different perspective, or make you see something differently, or impact you in some sort of way or another. And you got this. You're amazing, you're talented. Everyone has their uniqueness. Let that shine. Don't put a limit on yourself, because at the end of the day, you are choosing to put that limit on yourself. You are choosing to let that limit affect your perspective on everything. When you put that limit, it's real. Those things become real. You guys stay blessed, and I'll be back on here soon with another video. Get the fuck out of here. I'll be back on here soon with another video. I'll be trying to continue to post regularly on YouTube. I want to show you the park that I was at, and it's beautiful and peaceful. Anyway, I hope you guys have an amazing day. Thank you so much for listening. I'll be trying to reply to everybody in the comments. I love y'all. I hope you know how special you are. Stop comparing yourself. Plant that seed and let it grow. Bye, guys.